You give me a damn break. My feet they hurt so much. Why did I come here? Hey God, where are you now? One day we'll all be gone, but we walk in Santiago. Buen camino, buen camino, buen camino.
Well, hello there, pilgrims. This is my first day of walking. I am just out of Logrono. I've been walking for, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. Quite a bit of city walking this morning, of course, because Logrono is a big city. But I am traveling about 28K today. There's only one town, I think 13K or something like that. So that's much longer than I normally walk, only because when I have a group with me, that would be far too far for a group to go. Usually I have to make sure that you're going no farther than the slowest or most injured person. So usually I don't get to go this far. So I'm excited about that. And today's kind of cool. I think it's gonna get up to like 85 or something like that today, but there's been some really hot days so far before I got here, and at the end of this week it's going to get up above the 90s in Fahrenheit, so it's going to get quite a bit hotter. So anyway, today should be a nice day. Gonna make a slow climb at the first half of the day, and then the second half of the day will be a descent down into, I believe that's Najera. Anyway, so looking forward to a good long day on Camino, but it will probably be a bit sparse out here. Interesting, last night at the albergue, I really only talked with a few pilgrims. There were some language barriers. There wasn't a lot of English in the albergue last night. I did just have a good conversation, joking around with some young Spanish guys from Barcelona who are making Camino together. So we chatted for a bit, but for the most part I haven't met a whole lot of folks, in part because there's just not a lot of Americans out here. There's not a lot of English, native English speakers out here. There's plenty of Europeans on the way. I've already seen quite a few. So anyway, I will update you soon. Wanted to give you a little bit of update. I'm about halfway through my first day, my first 28K day, which is a pretty good day for me. By the way, this is, you can see I'm walking through this vineyard, which is really beautiful, and I'll go the other way too so you can see that, which is really beautiful. But I got a bit of wind, so we'll see how the sound does with this, and hopefully you'll be able to hear me okay. But today I wanted to just kind of give a little bit of context of why I'm out here. It's kind of an odd trip. I am starting in a town, Logrono, where my wife and I left off in 2016. We came and walked from St. Jean to Logrono, and so I picked up there because this is a section of Camino I've never been on, and wanted to be able to see it. But unfortunately, I'm not even going to get to the next spot, which is which I've never walked to, which is Leon. So there'll still probably be a couple days before Leon that I don't get to see on this trip. But I really felt I needed to be here. And I imagine for some of the same reasons that some of you are really wanting to be on Camino. You know, this has been a long 18 months. I was supposed to make a pilgrimage to Rome in March of last year, and that trip was canceled just a couple of weeks before, maybe only a week before we left. That was really disappointing. I've been wanting to go to Rome for a long time. Had a group of great students who were going to go, and thankful for our honors college director who invited me to go, and then we didn't get to do that. And then I was planning in late August. I thought the summer, as COVID really went down last summer, I thought, well, maybe I'll be able to make Camino with a group of friends. There were just 4 or 5, mostly they were alumni of my previous trips. And we were gonna go and walk some of this section right here last August. And of course that was terrible planning. There was no way that trip was gonna happen, but we thought maybe it was possible, at least I thought. And then I was gonna, this May, a few months ago, would have been another trip for my students on a normal schedule, but I knew quite a long time ago that wasn't gonna happen. So again, I started putting together a group of people who were not students, just friends and alumni and others who would make the trip in May. And of course that didn't happen. We knew in about March or April that we weren't gonna get to take that trip. So I've been trying to get back to Camino. And then when they opened up in June, I'd kind of already blocked out this time with hopes that I'd be able to make Camino during this block. And I'm thankful that I was able to get out here, work it out with work and work it out with my family and so on to come for this time. I think I really needed it, not only because COVID has just been, I think, miserable for most of us, especially for those of us that are extroverts and love to travel and all these things, and that just hasn't been possible during this year. So that's been really hard, but I'm thankful to be back. And I think one of the reasons is I've learned that this rhythm of walking, just being out here and taking the steps and talking with people, it's become a part of my life now. And it's spiritual pilgrimage, not because the journey is so challenging or anything like that, or even maybe is any more of a holy place than any place I could be back home. But for me, imagine for many of you that have made pilgrimage before, this place has become sacred because of the years now that I've spent praying out here, and so many other pilgrims have spent their time praying out here, and so it's become a holy place. And for me, more than anything, it's become a retreat, a way of life that once a year I pattern this time to be able to come out here and make retreat for a bit, and be able to meet people and walk and sweat a little and walk in churches. And so anyway, a little bit of self-reflection this morning, as I'm thankful to be back on the way. that I was expecting this morning to be a little more remote. I thought it would be kind of through fields, but I guess I didn't pay attention to how large Navarrete and Logrono are, because they kind of run together. It's almost like walking through one town with a park in the middle. So thankfully there was plenty of folks out today. Met a couple of Americans already, which was fun. Met a few pilgrims at the last bar there in Navarrete, and looking forward to meeting some more folks throughout the day. Buen Camino. So I'm quite sure that the audio on this is going to be terrible, but I wanted to do a truth in advertising moment. You know, so many people talk about how beautiful the Camino is, and it is. But one of the things that's different about Camino from, like, you know, a wilderness trek like Appalachian Trail or something is there's very little road walking. Here, you can see behind me, lots of road walking. I often say that about a third of the Camino is walking on a road. Now, it's not usually walking along a highway like this, but there are sections like this too. So anyway, it's part of the deal. So I want to share with you one of those truly magical Camino moments that sometimes happens when you're out on the trail. I was walking with these two Danish women who I just met out on the trail and had been talking with them and so on, and we come upon this scene along the way. And what's happening here is that these three pilgrims, Monica, Toby, and Theo, who will soon become really great friends, are teaching a song that they had written while they were on pilgrimage to this musician who's just along the side of the trail, sort of busking and collecting donations and so on. So they are teaching him their song, and in just a moment you'll hear them perform a song that they had been singing all along the way. But what was really beautiful about this for me was not only this magical moment of sort of creating music right there on the trail in the middle of a vineyard, but also that these people became such dear friends. Toby is from Germany. He happens to teach music and is a school teacher, and so he's actually sort of teaching the song right now in this moment. And Toby is a deeply spiritual man, one of the kindest, most compassionate and fun guys. He's just super goofy and a lot of fun, and was an amazing pilgrim out on the way. And then Theo is the man who's to the right there. Theo is a French pilgrim who actually had started much earlier. I actually can't even remember where his original starting point, but he had walked a couple of different years in sections, and then he had picked up about a week and a half or 2 weeks, I think, before St. Jean, and had been walking for quite a while when he arrived in St. Jean, and then he met some of these other pilgrims and was walking on to Santiago this year. So he was walking a very long way, and Theo is just this incredibly brilliant, he has this wit that is just unstoppable, and a remarkable man, and compassionate and full of life, and became a dear friend. And then Monica is an agriculture teacher from southern Spain, who's in the image there as well. Monica is just absolute joy in every part of her life, and was a great pilgrim. And so really these three, I think for me, they embodied what the pilgrimage is really about. And it was a great joy to get to walk with them some along the way. So here's the music that they created along with their Spanish friend along the side of the road.
You want to sing the song, right? Give me a damn break. My feet, they hurt so much. Why did I come here? Wake up, where are you now? One day we'll all be gone, but we walk to Santiago. Buen camino, buen camino, buen camino, buen camino. Give me a damn break. My feet they hurt so much. Why did I come here? Hey God, where are you now? One day we'll all be gone, but we walk to Santiago. Buen camino, buen camino, buen camino, buen camino. Give me a damn break. My feet they hurt so much. Why did I come here? Hey God, where are you now? One day we'll all be gone, but we walk to Santiago. Buen camino, buen camino, buen camino. Solo!
Buen camino, buen camino, buen camino. To Santiago is break of life. Break of the heart, take me right below the take a road for my and it's all down for all the down. To Santiago.
Whoa!